Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What is a true fact so baffling, it should be false? The record for most children born to one mother is 69, to the wife of Fyodor Vasilyev, b. 1707 c. 1782, a peasant from Shuya, Russia. In 27 labors, she gave birth to 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets and 4 sets of quadruplets. Edit, wife name is Valentina Vasilyev. Not sure what's more impressive, having that many children, or considering it's the 1700s, living through it. Would be interested in how many of the kids survived too. My husband read this for the first time yesterday, his reaction was dude get off of her already. It's a uterus, not a clown car. Well, as Groucho Marx said, I also love a cigar, but I take it out of my mouth every once in a while. Asterisk edited for terrible spelling of Groucho. To the wife of Fyodor Vasilyev, we can't even name her in her own world record. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening even though it's 93 miles away. That shit makes sound. Yup. The sun is 290 decibels. If space could carry sound, it would still be 125 decibel by the time it got to Earth. It'd be like a jackhammer everywhere all the time. Of course, if that happened, we'd probably evolve to be deaf in that audio spectrum so we wouldn't notice. People were deliberately infected with malaria to cure their syphilis, and the man who developed this treatment, Julius Wagner-Dorej, received the Nobel Prize for it. The extremely high fevers of the malaria infections killed the syphilis bacteria, then the patients were cured of the malaria using quinine. Quinine is the reason tonic water glows under black light. Till tonic water glows under black light. You can boil water in a paper cup over an open flame. My dad showed me this when I was 4. Blew my mind. The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. I see these threads a bunch, but this answer has me interested. We'll look up the source on that one. Kilkee, Ireland, gave birth to twins Amy Ann and Kate Marie, Katie, Elliot 87 days apart, making them the twins with the longest interval between their births. The twins were born at Waterford Regional Hospital. Amy was born prematurely on June 1, 2012, and Kate followed on August 27. Guinness World Records. Saddam Hussein was an erotic romance novelist in his spare time as the dictator of Iraq. Source. He also had a Quran bound in human flesh, which is apparently a big no-no in Islam. And just about anywhere else. It wasn't a Quran bound in human flesh, it was a Quran written in his own blood. He hired a calligrapher to write it over the span of 2 years using vials of his blood. It was bound in goat leather. Is that why his character is such a romantic in the South Park movie? Come on, guy. From 1613 and 1620 a samurai traveled to Rome by way of Mexico. During this time, Shakespeare was still alive, Virginia had been founded for around a decade, Galileo was accused of heresy, and Pocahontas arrived in England. He met the Pope, he was made a Roman citizen. His name was Heisekura Tsuega, and was the last Japanese person to officially visit Europe until around 1860. Is there a diagram or map or something of how that trip was made? https://wikipedia.org/wiki/Heisekura_Tsuega. There is. Another fun samurai fact, Oda Obega had a black man as an official samurai. This was in 1581. Where exactly the man was from, Mozambique is most historians' guess, and what his name was weren't recorded, but the Japanese gave him the nickname Yasuke. He'd come over to Japan on a Portuguese missionary boat. By all accounts he and Obega got along great, and he fought in several major battles of Japan's warring states period. Sadly, after Obega's death, Akechi Mitsuhide declared Yasuke to be not a man but an animal and had him sent to a nearby Christian church that had been established by missionaries. There is no record of what happened to him after that. Man, Akechi is a fucking asshole. Cheetahs can't roar, but they can meow like house cats. Wosh, is this legit? Googling now. Edit, this has been the cutest part of my day. Cute, then scary. https://u2.be/0tmcissspvc8. One day Mao Zedong saw a sparrow eating grain. Thinking that the sparrows were hurting China's grain supply, he and the Communist Party launched the Four Pests campaign. The Chinese military and population killed every sparrow they could find. Embassies didn't allow the Chinese to kill sparrows on their property, so the Chinese banged pots and pans outside the embassies 24/7 until the sparrows died of exhaustion. Unfortunately for the Chinese, sparrows mainly eat insects, not grain. The locust population exploded and 43 million people starved to death. This reminds me of that guy who killed elephants to stop the desertification of the savannah, only to have the desert spread faster. Edit, put poached instead of killed. My bad. I just heard his TED talk. He didn't poach elephants, but he did convince the governments to kill them. He now advocates for herds of animals moved randomly around the grasslands to increase their biomass and in turn reverse desertification. He says that the elephant thing is his biggest regret in life and it still haunts him to this day. https://wiki.org/wiki/Alan_Savory. He's still alive. He realized his horrendous mistake, and has been an incredible advocate for conservation ever since. Whale reproduction involves 3 whales. 2 to do the nasty and 1 to keep them from sinking. Talk about third wheeling. Third whaling. There were more planes destroyed in World War II than there are, currently intact, planes on Earth today. I mean, everyone was making a shit ton of planes. A shit ton of shitty planes. Commercial airliners nowadays are pretty sick, and in terms of military planes, the dominant air force in the world is taking a quality over quantity approach, despite also having quite a few, but yeah. Edit, what I meant by shitty was vastly simpler designs that were more conducive to more quantitative production, because World War II in a lot of facets was a numbers game. Like they did the same thing with tanks, it didn't make sense to pour too much money into any given piece of hardware because it was just going to get blown up, since the technology didn't exist to prevent that in any way. These days, they can do that with planes at least, because it's kind of hard to hit something that's literally going as fast as a bullet. Gotten a lot of responses about how World War II planes weren't actually shitty, and I agree, I was just using coarse language. There is an extremely rare condition called Stone Man syndrome. It causes any smallest damage done to tissue to regrow into a bone. Speaking briefly, people affected by this sickness slowly turn into living statues as they get older. Wikipedia, surgical removal of the extra bone growths has been shown to cause the body to repair the affected area with even more bone. I'll never sleep again. Adult patients eventually have to decide on what position they wish to predominantly take for the rest of their lives. This was creepier for me. I saw a documentary on that once. One advanced sufferer had to explain to a young girl with the syndrome that at some point she was going to have to make a choice: be frozen forever standing up or be frozen forever sitting down, and the pros and cons of both. Utterly chilling. Edit, I have managed to find the documentary, and have time-stamped it to where her mother, not the kid herself, I misremembered, meets Robert Kaya, the man I mentioned. https://u2.be. As of 2016 she was still going, aged 17, although the disease had progressed. https://www.dailymail.co.uk/health/article-3449544. What's the pro to standing? Sitting you can at least get wheeled around in a wheelchair. Edit, since this comment broke 1 Kelvin upvotes, I decided to look into this. I found an article about one man who said he chose the standing position and is happy with that choice. He has a wheelchair he can stand in that also lays him into bed. https://amp//s/www.mirror.co.uk/newsworldnews/brave Rob the man who can -16 14 222 amp. My neighbor has this condition. She is one of about 800 people to have it. I have watched over the years as she has gotten minor injuries, reduced from walking with a cane to being unable to move out of a special kind of wheelchair. It's a really sad disease, but she remains one of the most positive people I have ever met. Edit, 800. As of 2017, approximately 800 cases of FOP have been confirmed worldwide, making FOP one of the rarest diseases known. I worked with a kid who had that. He was wheelchair-bound, unable to play with his primary school friends, and his jaw was starting to lock up, so feeding was about to become impossible. Absolutely heartbreaking. Stalin, Hitler, and Freud all lived in VI at the same time. Imagine a sitcom with them all as roommates. Damn it, Stalin, stop eating my food. It is our food, Freud. I will stop eating it when you stop banging your mother. More people died making the V2 rockets during WW2 than were killed by them. Another fun fact about V2 rockets. Germany was facing a large issue with rocket fuel shortages during the project because people kept drinking it. The fuel was made from 70% ethyl alcohol and 30% water, distilled from potatoes. It was the most economically viable fuel at the time, since they were already very low on other fuels. To stop workers from drinking it, they denatured the alcohol, essentially poisoning it, but people kept drinking it anyways and getting extremely ill. This simply caused people to start leaving the V2 program, suggesting that they were only in it for the free alcohol. This also means that any alcohol over 70% ABV is stronger than actual WW2 rocket fuel.